Welcome, everybody, to AME Podcasts. My name is Dr. Josh Long, and we're so excited to have you all here. Purpose of these podcasts are to help educate and inform others to engage in music making. This podcast is actually sponsored by the Art and Music Emporium, serving artistic excellence. And we actually offer things such as instrument repair, music lessons, and performing initiatives such as the annual Community Band by the Sea performance down in Wildwood, New Jersey. So, something you should check out if you haven't before. If you like what we do, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page or like us on Facebook. And if you want to support us monetary wise, we do have a Patreon account. Again, money goes towards helping others continue to make music and perform throughout their lifetime. I have a very special guest for all of you today to meet. He's actually a really good friend that I met through research. You might know him as being the former director of bands at Rider University. However, I do have to say, I think his biggest endeavor is since 1985, Blodenberg Band, and
Yep.
that long. Goodness gracious, I was 5 years old. Of all this years of service that he has given to the community world, as well as continue playing his clarinet. What I want to say about him is he's somebody that I strive to be. And to be honest, making this a first podcast, I strategically planned it for him to be involved just because he's such a great person. So please help me welcome Dr. Jerry Rife. And you can take it away, Jerry.
Thanks a lot. It's so good to be here. My background is music education, and I got a master's in applied clarinet performance at Kansas State University, both of them. And then I went out and taught. And so I taught at high schools and junior highs in Kansas, which was where I was based at the time, for about 5 years, and had some good programs there. And then I decided I wanted to go back to school and get a doctorate, and I went to Michigan State University to study with the clarinet faculty that was there, and ended up going into musicology and getting a PhD in musicology. So, you know, Rider was Rider University, which is in New Jersey. Many of you may know, was a place that wanted to hire me because I had degrees in music education. I could conduct and teach music, also in applied performance, so I could play, and in musicology, so I could teach history and theory. And they needed all of that in one person. So I came to them in 1984. And pretty rapidly after that, looked around the community and found a community band called the Blauenberg Band, out of Blauenberg, New Jersey, a little crossroads in the sort of in the center of the state. And they asked me to come and play clarinet. And I said, sure, I'd be glad to. This band had started in 1890. So they're one of the oldest bands in the state of New Jersey. And they were small at the time, 15 to 18 people. I think it was sort of winding down a little bit. And I came in and played, and they asked me to be the conductor in '85, and that was 38 years ago. And I'm still conducting them now, so it's pretty exciting. So what I wanted to talk about with you, Josh, today is about community bands and how they're different from other bands, other organizations, and why they're so important for our community and especially for our members, our musicians. This is what I think your blog is all about, and I really applaud you for putting it together and for bringing music, all aspects of music. It sounds like to your audiences. Pretty exciting stuff, I'd say.
Well, thank you.
Lauenberg is a community band, and their goal was and still is 133 years later to bring music to the community, bring music, especially to people who can't get out to hear music. They're in a nursing home or a retirement center or something, and they don't drive at night, something along those lines. And they deserve to have music performed live for them just as much as anybody else. And I'm going to be in a nursing home someday. So will you, probably. And wouldn't it be nice if a band, a respectable band of your friends and peers and community would come and play for you? Absolutely. Let's just keep the tradition going. Um, Community bands are different though. And it's, as a conductor of a community band, it's a little bit difficult to walk the fine line that you have to walk. You're not giving a grade. You can't say play this correctly by tomorrow or you're going to get a D. You just can't say that. And you have a band made up of people that are of all different calibers and talent wise. I mean, some people that are music teachers and are professional musicians, and they've played for many, many years, and they just enjoy playing, and they want to play music that's fun and exciting and challenging and hard. It pushes them. Great. That's what the community band can do. But there's a guy sitting right next to him, or that's in his upper 80s or something, and he used to play when he was in high school and enjoys music, really loves it, but his fingers don't. He's not up to the standard of caliber of the person that is a professional. We have band members in all of our community bands that range the gamut from young to old, from talented to amateur, from professional to just people that love to play. They all share that trait, though. They love to play and they want to play. So it's the job of the conductor to embrace those people, to bring them in, and at the same time start raising the level of the quality of the ensemble in the same light. This is a difficult thing. You can't fire them. You can't. I mean, it's not fair to kick them out of the band because they can't play. And it's really important that the band becomes a source of therapy for everybody. They have to have a good time playing, or they won't come back. They won't come back on your Monday night for your rehearsal. Now, since 1985, I think I've conducted about 1,300 rehearsals. I know I'm way over 1,000 performances, maybe like 1,200, because we play 25 to 30 times a year. And for almost 40 years, that adds up, So we have to accept the fact that not everybody can be at every rehearsal. Not everyone can be at every concert, every performance, especially when there's that many. And no one's getting paid, so you can't say I'm docking your pay if you don't come. The beauty of it is they come because they want to. So your job is to make the rehearsal fun, make it exciting, and by all means work. These people want to come to play. They don't want to come to listen to you talk and to waste time in rehearsal or something. They want to rehearse for an hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever your rehearsal is. They want to be in there and they want the horn on their mouth, and playing, blowing. They want to be tired and full of exuberance at the end of your rehearsal. And that's your job. So you've got to find music that will reach everybody, that is hard enough and easy enough, that is not too challenging in range, that's not too modern, but it's okay to put a modern piece in there just to finish up afterwards with a march, which, except for the horn players, don't like marches too much because they're just playing all offbeats. So, get an arrangement that has some nice horn work in it to keep your horns happy. But you've got to keep your brass happy too. If it's just all woodwinds, that's not so good. It's good music for good and good programming, which I want to talk about in a minute. How you program for a band, and work in the rehearsal. I start
Mm-hmm.
my rehearsals almost every time right at 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm not ready to prepare, I'm still passing out music or something. I stop and the
Yep.
downbeat is right at 7:30. And we go right till 9. And I don't abuse that. I don't go after 9
Mm-hmm.
ever, almost never.
Okay.
It's time to go home at that point. And people need to get home in the dark, especially safely. So all of that is important. Um,
But if I may
now,
ask,
yeah,
before you go into, kind of the repertoire side of it, you brought up a really great point, that's kind of difficult about all of this. And it's the point of you have someone sitting next to you that, might want more easier performing, right? They're just
right,
coming to
right.
play in band, maybe to come and see friends,
Yeah,
and then you have somebody else who wants to be really strictly challenged on their instrument, somebody that really wants. So if you may, could you let me know how you deal with something like that, as
yeah,
far
yeah.
as,
I'd be glad to.
as far as, the two different spectrums, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just interested.
this will base in programming as well, but this is a very good question. It's a salient and important, pivotal question, really, for community band players. Um, it's not a professional group. It's not like an orchestra or anything. So the way I do it is I have some music that is slow,
Okay.
that is fairly easy technically to play,
Okay.
but all music is difficult to play well.
Hmm.
So Frank Erickson's Air for Band, this is a very simple piece to play, but there's so much music in it that you can really work phrasing and articulation. And talk about intonation. That's never off the table. Okay. As my jazz musicians friends would say, I am not a slave to intonation, but you should be, right? Because we have to play as a group.
Uh-huh.
Rehearsals are for ensemble playing.
Hmm.
At home playing is for woodshedding. And so
Hmm.
you do that. So what I do for the people that want harder music is I give them some harder music and I challenge the people that are struggling with that. But I
Okay.
also have some easy music that the good players can play easily and the other players are happy with. And there's one other thing I do too, and this really works. I think this is the way you can find music that has solo work,
Okay.
like a trumpet trio,
Hmm.
Bugler's Holiday,
Okay.
or there's. I just ordered a thing called Schindler's List from the movie of John Wayne and Steven Spielberg, and instead of there's a violin solo, could be played by clarinet or
Hmm.
saxophone. It's all scored that way, and
Okay.
it's really gorgeous music. It's a short piece of about 3.5 minutes, and it has that gorgeous sound. So you can have your best players stand up and play that solo with the band. And
Okay.
and I do a lot of that. It's also good for the audience to see something. Hey, they're moving around up there. They're not just playing their horn. Wow, someone stood up. They're coming to the front of the sound. Yeah. So yeah, let your good players have solos. And I always say this is a solo for whatever, um, trumpeter's lullaby, but I give the solo out to the whole band, to the whole trumpet section,
Okay.
even the ones that don't want to play it. They get to see it. They can practice it at home, and they can hear that top player play it and how beautiful it is. And if they want to try it in rehearsal, anybody come up to me and say, I'd like a go at that. Absolutely, we can do
Awesome.
that. We can do that.
That's
That
that's
challenges everybody.
That's very cool. And if you may, again, I don't want to take away what you were talking about a little bit more. How do you find yourself? This is something, and this is more for me, I should always say, as being an always constant learner, right? When you have those folks and you challenging them, I'm a firm believer. I'll just tell you when I'm on the podium. I'm kind of a firm believer that when even the ones that are just there that they just want to play. Okay, so they're just there solely just because they want to play. They don't really not worried about anything else. Maybe it's the social aspect, all the stuff I said, yet when I push them and maybe this is what you're doing with putting the solos to everyone. When I push them, I notice that they do more than they thought they could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's something if you've experienced with doing that. It's just what came to my mind right away.
That's right.
As far
Yeah.
as, it's like getting them to be much more involved with everything, every aspect of the band and of the solo and of their instrument, where they don't think they can, because they'll label themselves as the amateurs. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm just
Right.
here.
Yeah.
I'm just, oh, please no. Which, but anyway, I don't know if that's the
Absolutely.
direction you were going with that, or
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. As I said at the beginning of this little section, you can make music out of everything, and there's no band that doesn't overdo the dynamics. I mean, the dynamics can be worked on, and you can make a phrase that tapers off at the end and is a beautiful thing, and it's simple to play. And we all should be doing that, and we should be doing it together. Now, let's have the section, clarinet section, do that. Good. Now, add the rest of the woodwinds. Everybody now does that, and you can see how if we do dynamics and it's in tune and it's good tone, it's going to be really quality, and you're going to be proud of it, and the audience is going to love it, and you're going to come back and play some more. That really, really works. In fact, I think William Ravelli said, when you're doing dynamics, or maybe it was Leonard Falcone, who was the band director at Michigan State, at the very end of his career when I was there, we had plenty of time to talk. He would say, if it's marked mezzo forte or mezzo piano and you're crescendoing to forte, that's it's piano, mezzo forte, forte, it's 2 levels up. Start your crescendo at piano, even though it's marked mezzo piano. Start it softer so that we can hear the change in the dynamic, and it really makes more sense. It doesn't matter. I mean, no one in the audience is going to say that one trumpet player, he started at mezzo piano and the other one next to him was at piano. It doesn't make sense. What's on the page? Play. Yeah, the page is a guideline for what you do, and you make music out of it, and you're responsible for what comes out of your horn. So if it's marked crescendo, start softer and get louder. If it's marked decrescendo, start louder than you think it should be, so that you will have space to come down and really make it nice. And that, by the way, I talk about practicing at home and how you can do long tones. Every teacher I ever had said long tones, long tones, long tones. You can do long tones, start soft, crescendo, decrescendo. That practices your dynamic contrast, which is really important.
Awesome. Awesome. There's a meaning to long tones. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's kind of it's this quest of like what you're talking is, and I'm a true believer of this kind of connection to music making, and this is kind of where my inspiration comes in, where you're connecting to music, and if you connect to it and aesthetically, I mean, you can think of it that way, and you'll come. You'll want to do it. It's like,
Yeah,
not to use this terminology, it's like a drug, right?
yeah,
It gets to a point
yeah,
where you want to do it so much,
right.
and you want to be there. And
Yeah,
that's kind of my quest. I've been seeing a lot of folks who just really want to make music this way, and it's just because I really think it's about making the music,
yeah,
and
it
it's
really is.
just in connecting to it. And just like you said, and it could be something easy as a whole note,
Yeah,
that
right.
can be
That's right.
breathtaking.
Yeah.
So,
And when you're doing it with all the people in the band and everyone's doing it,
yeah.
and it's doing it at the same time with the exact same rhythms and good tone and
Mhm.
balance within the section and within the whole ensemble, it can be really, really gratifying. It
Yeah.
can just be mesmerizing, life-changing, really. It can
Right.
be. And that's what they don't have when they go to the store or when they
Yep.
turn on the TV. This
Yep.
is an ensemble experience, and you're contributing to it. And so you have responsibility, and they take that seriously. Most people do.
Yep. Yeah, that
And I
connection.
learned in junior high, Josh. I learned in the junior high band that they can't talk if the horn is in their face. It's just impossible to be trading recipes with your neighbor when you're playing. So we played all the time in junior high, and I talk very little. Now, conductors out there, or if you have a conductor, you can tell them this, but be gentle. Yeah. And that is, don't talk so much. Just if you have something to say, okay, say it. Mind the dynamic in this one place. Listen to that. That's an A flat, not an A natural. Okay, that fine. Let's take it again, and then or actually, I do a lot of singing. I sing it. I need the swelling. I need the dynamic. And if I had my clarinet there, I would play it for them. But that's all it takes. They need to know what you want, and then they'll deliver it. And also, I do some weird things in conducting too. Most of them are on purpose. Some aren't. I will slow down, and I will just slow down, and I will, and are you following me? Don't forget to look at me. Watch the baton, and then I'm taking more. I'm going faster in this section. I like to do those medleys of American music songs and stuff where you can have flexibility, and that makes them watch and it makes music.
You're telling me there's a purpose for the conductor on the podium?
No,
no.
At least us conductors think so.
I know. It just again brought to my mind. I've played with a crescendo or something where I'll just hold it and folks will go on and I'm just sitting there still waiting. Nope. Yeah. Okay, now we go on. Just on purpose. That's an on purpose. But it's true. Because and this doesn't have to be the focus, but there's a whole craft to conducting, where this non-verbal, just like you're saying, Jerry, and this non-verbal conducting pattern that you want to show and expressions and all of that into your music making that, just like you said, it's yeah, you can do it via, voice, but music's deemed that universal language, isn't it? Right, so right. That's where you show. I mean, that's what the conductors are doing up there, showing, showing you where the music should be made.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really important that your beat is clear. I mean, you have to say, this is the beat, and it comes 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. If it's clear, they'll be able to follow you. If you're doing circles or whatever, just waving your arms, it's going to sound like that. And
right.
So
right.
And sometimes, especially when the band's getting a little off, it's not quite together, I just go 1, 2, 3. I just do, like the box in the book conducting we had, and I just do that.
Well, this kind of goes off a question I have, and then again, I know you want to talk about repertoire. I feel like I'm taking away your conversation here, but speaking about conducting, and this is something I think about all the time, is giving the group what they need. Okay. Yeah. So for example, that's a prime example, if everyone's off a beat, or everyone's scattered and you're in the middle of a performance, you can't just go, okay, we're going to start here, unless it, obviously gets worse. But starting where that, starting that, I mean, is that something that you really focus on with a community band group, is as far as like keeping, giving them what they need? So maybe you're showing them a beat pattern, maybe you're showing them all this circle things because that's what they need. Is that a strategy that you kind of focus on? And I don't know if that's something you think about absolutely. As you're making music.
Yeah, I do. And I try to make sure we don't start until everyone's ready. Okay. I take a breath with them. That helps them to know. Boom. And there it is. That's where it comes in. And I'm a stickler about rhythm. Rhythm, if it's not exactly accurate, then it's ragged. It's not accurate,
Yep.
Dotted 8/16, 1 2 3 4 1, 1 4 1, da 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 triplet, da 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 da, 1 2 3 1, 1 2 3 1. It's different. It's totally different. And if you're playing triplets, reading dotted 8 and 16s, it's just not going to sound together. Another pet peeve I have is starting together, which we are after 37 years, we're pretty much doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
starting together, which is good. Which is hard in slow music. Where is it? It's right here. 1 1 1 2. That's where it starts. But my pet peeve now is, where does the note end? You've got to end together.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of the note and the end of the note have to be what's on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't cut you off every time, because I'd be cutting people off all the time.
Right.
Or I'll just say, flutes, hold that out to the bar line. Okay, bing. Yeah, and they will do that. So the length of the note and what you do with it rhythmically is really important, and we need to do it together. And
Mm-hmm.
in a rehearsal hall, or even in a concert, if we're spread out, the tubas are way back here and the French horns are way over here, and it's we're not close, we're not tight. Then it's has a tendency to be two different bands,
Mm-hmm.
bouncing around. So I like to get tight on the stage, that is, close together if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So small stages don't bother me, because we're going to be able to really play together. And I found that the tighter we are, the closer we are in the sides of the band and in the depth of the band, the better it sounds, because we're people are listening and they're watching, and it's coming together. That's a good thing. Our
Yeah,
best concerts are little stages.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's an awesome point. I know that's polar opposite than in the last few years with the COVID,
Yeah, it's
worries.
been hard to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I know there's something to say about when you're close. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you're in the sound. You know, it's just you're so
Yeah.
right. I know it has a tighter sound for some
Yeah.
reason.
Experiment with your bands, or suggest to your conductor, I'm talking to the bigger audience here, about a tighter formation, about having people closer together,
Hmm.
uh, and see if that doesn't make a difference in how you come together as an ensemble. I think it will. If you can hear the clarinets and you're a trombone player way over a different section of the band, or I'll say, brass, you have whole notes here. They're important notes, but I don't really care about them. I want to hear the melody that's being played by the bassoons, or the double reeds here or something.
Yep.
So if you can't hear their playing, you're playing too loud. So just listen for them.
Mhm.
And that usually works. Sometimes I'll say, guys, bassoons. I have 4 bassoons, which is amazing. Bassoons and oboes, will you play that? And they can hear it. Okay, that's what I want you to listen to right here. Let's try
Mhm.
it again. 117, go. That really works.
Awesome. Well, very cool. Do you want to? I know you were kind of prepared to talk a little bit about repertoire. Do you want to
Yeah, I want to talk
discuss that a
about
little bit then?
programming.
Mhm.
Programming is the hardest job. That and letting people in your band. I also always said, as a teacher, the 2 most important jobs you have are hiring people,
Mhm.
because if you're hiring someone to come in and be a colleague and work with you, uh, that is really critical. You need to spend the time with that person to see that you make sure you have that right person, because
Mhm.
they're really hard to get rid of if you need to. And there's only one thing more important than that, and that's quality teaching and treating your
Mhm.
students well in the classroom. Being clear also with them what is important to learn, and what is important for them to be able to look up if they need to. Well, with community band, it's also the same. The people that you let into your band um, are are important. Now, at the beginning of the Blauenberg band, I had a hard time because the band wasn't very good, and we had people in it that really, you know, it wasn't that good. There were a few good players, and so I would
Mhm.
find someone, I'd say, hey, Harold, come on in and you should check out our band. I knew Harold was a good player. Come on in, we need French horn. And he would come in and it's not a very good band. He wouldn't come back. So yeah, I had a hard time getting an upward spiral of getting good enough players to come and stay, so that other good players would come, and then it would work. So, and as it is, I don't let anyone in the band unless there's a good fit. A good fit means they enjoy the band, the music is okay for them, and they have a commitment to it, that they're going to try and come and do their job as part of the musicians. The other thing is we need to have quality quality performances, quality presentations, and quality music, good arrangements. So the arrangements of the music are not junior high or levels that are so low that they're just not good arrangements. The music must be good. Having said that, the hardest job of the conductor, or the music director, I should say, is programming. And programming is deciding which pieces to play in what order. That's what I mean by programming. I was trained as an academic at Kansas State University. Okay, so Norman Delajoy. Okay, Vincent Persichetti. Okay, these are the things that you take. All band directors, Okay, and so I thought, okay, well, that's how you conduct a band. And so I would go out. I taught in junior high and high school for 5 years in Kansas, and Norman Delajoy, and was not in the realm of possibility. I did have a high school band in Lincoln, Kansas, a very small town, but I had 96 students in the band, the high school band, and the high school total enrollment was 101.
Okay.
So there were 6 students in the high school that were not in band. And all the rest were in band. And band was one first period of every day.
Wow.
For an hour. Wow. So that's because then the teachers didn't have to come to school until 9:30. That's when their classes started, when band got out.
Okay.
And this was concert band all year long. And if we did marching band practice in the fall, that was before school. That was an hour before school. So it was an amazing, and we did Shostakovich Overture. We could do that with that kind of discipline. So what I do is, so I was in the fog, sort of like the background of your room there. I was blurry. I didn't really know what to do and how to program, and I had to learn it on my own. And I learned it by studying some of the super successful professional bands that were in the classical period of band making, which is Sousa and Goldman and Fillmore and all these bands that were really successful.
Okay.
Amazingly successful. And I learned by studying their programs how they did it. And Sousa did it by presenting high quality arrangements, many of them that he did, and making them accessible and playable by a professional band. They were the best musicians in the United States. They were hired right out of the orchestras because he paid better, and go on the road and play and 700 concerts a year. I mean, it was amazing, and all new music and marches in each concert. And what he would do is he would usually start with a national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, and then he would give a heavy piece right off the bat. And it might be an opera overture. I mean, he did a lot of the opera overtures, and he arranged many of them too. And that would be, and he would go out and play in the Midwest where they didn't even know opera. He was playing Wagner out there.
Wow.
He played Overture to Parsifal in North Dakota 10 years before it, Wagner's last opera, 10 years before it premiered at the Metropolitan Opera. And he followed it with a song, "Has anybody here seen Kelly?" which is a song that everybody knew. So he would give them marches and short songs and pieces that they knew as reward for listening to the heavy duty classical music. This was educating audiences, which is what he did. He made respectable music uh, uh, accessible, and accessible music respectable. It was just a fantastic thing. So I usually, in my programs, well, for instance, our 133rd anniversary concert last June, we had the national anthem. We did a overture to Tancredi, an overture, the opera overture, and it was short and lively and happy. Followed it by a march, and then we did a succession of film scores, music from films, and it was called a matinee, movie matinee with the Blondberg Band or something. And you know, I contrasted pieces. I would have a slower piece that was quiet, and then I would have an exuberant piece. You know, Schindler's List we played, and we followed that with you know, score from King Kong from 1933, Max Steiner's score. You know, and it was, the ape is coming with Fay Ray in her hands and we showed clips of the film on the back wall of the hall. It was very successful. It was really good. I usually have after the overture and after a march, I will have maybe a solo or soloist or a trio or something come up and play a contrasting number, and horn concerto by Strauss or something along those lines, or trumpet piece or euphonium or trombone or clarinet, whatever. And then we would have a couple more pieces. I would like to talk about the pieces too, because I'm a teacher. So I would tell the audience what to listen for, like they were in my classroom. This is important. This piece, you know, by Charles Ives is going to be a challenge for you. Okay. And this piece has a disclaimer. You know, there's going to be a fire siren going off in the middle of it, and don't leave your seats. It's okay. You know, and they like to be talked to. They like to be told a little history about, you know, Goldman Band or whoever the composer was about this. And, what is that? Why is this called, you know, Bullets and Bayonets? You know, what's who wrote this and why did they title it that? You know, what's the history of this? And it makes it more accessible. It gives the band a rest, chops, you know, a little bit of a rest, and the audience then, it's only a minute of talking, and then the audience really knows what's going on, and they can say, "Oh, okay, well, let's hold on to our seats," you know. And I like to get the audience involved on occasion too, especially for on one of the outdoor concerts, a gazebo or a nursing home or a retirement center. Or, you know, we played since 1912. We played every year at the Griggstown Harvest Festival, which is a church that has food and games and entertainment. And we played there for over a century. And I will turn to the audience and play Carmen Dragon's arrangement of America the Beautiful, and I'll just make them sing it. And they love it. I have people standing up with their hands over their hearts and tears running down their faces singing America the Beautiful. It's really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that in basically what we need to do as conductors, probably in any orchestra or any band, especially community bands, is to work hard, get the people working in the rehearsal, get quality arrangements in there of people that you respect, and short pieces, and have it be entertaining, contrasting, and mesmerizing for your audience. That's what you want. And if you do that, you will have a bright future, and you will attract other people. They will say, "I just moved to the area. I want to join a band. I don't know which band. There's several bands around here." And they ask other musicians, and they say, "Well, you could go to that band or this band, but the real fun band, the band where really do fun stuff out of the band. And that's the one to go to. And if they come, even to the first rehearsal, I can get them to stay because I will work them hard and have a good time.
Yeah, that's something I always think about just because and this is something and you bring up a bunch of things that I kind of want to jump on really quickly. But
Sure.
the first one is they come to the rehearsal and then you might just get that one rehearsal, in my
No.
opinion, and that's it. Just like you said in the beginning of this, they're not students. They don't have to be there.
Right.
If anything goes south, as we say,
Yeah.
they could be gone. That's it. And I'm just interested if you could speak more about that, like what you do to, and it's not an impressing kind of thing, I would think. I think it's more of, you know, just getting them engaged somehow.
Yeah.
you know?
Be kind. I think that's the main thing, Josh. Be kind. I never say, Bob, that was a wrong note. It should have been an A flat. Now stand up and play that part right now.
Right.
I'd never see that guy again. He would be gone.
Yep.
I would say instead, trombones, take a look at the key here, and it's three flats. Okay, so A's are flat, unless otherwise marked. Let's try it as a section. And I
Mhm.
never call attention. I'm always kind to them. Before and after rehearsal, when we're not playing, I go around and talk to people. I say, hey, how you doing, Linda? How's your husband? Is he recovering or whatever? I love those people. Most of them have been in the band a long time. Some of
Yep.
them even longer than me. There's a couple of
Right.
people there that are going on 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I also do a joke. I tell a joke every rehearsal. Joke rehearsal, and they don't know when it's coming. And I will, if anything gets even the remotestly tense, I will tell a joke.
That's a
I
good
said,
technique.
yeah, it's a good one, and they love it. They just, I I called the tinnitus helpline for my ears, and
Yep.
no one picked up. It's just still ringing.
Yep.
It's a joke.
One thing that I wanted to ask really quickly was you mentioned having these really memorable songs that you played, pieces that you've played. America the Beautiful, for example, Carmen Dragon, where you'll get the sadness from the audience. Where everybody will get engaged, even players will get engaged. And I was just interested, some parts in that piece, for example, are difficult. They are difficult, and
Yeah,
I know the euphonium part, for example, which I played majority of the time, and there's not even that much there.
yeah,
It's still difficult, especially with the key in the beginning.
yeah.
So I'm just interested if you could just talk briefly about what you do if it's a challenge for somebody to help them through it. I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. I will rewrite parts if there's a problem. I will say leave it out if you can't play it in the performance. It's okay. If you know you are not going to play it well, just take a breath there, and that'll be fine. Um, I will change it so that it works for us, basically, and so that it helps the people playing it also. Um, and a lot of these pieces we've played enough that they really
Mhm.
know what to do.
Right.
When we sing America the Beautiful and then modulate up a third and sing it a little bit higher, I
Mhm.
conduct the orchestra, I conduct the audience, and I do it freely, and I make them hold a note longer, and then I cut them off, and I wait, and then I bring them in. And so they're part of the band. This is really exciting for them. And the band can see me because even with my back to them, they know what I'm doing. They can
Mhm.
find. So that is that is the way I would do that. And if it's just too hard for too many people and it's frustrating, then
Mhm.
okay, well, there's other music. There's a lot of music out there. There's tons of it, and you can get your friends that are band directors,
Hmm.
and you can ask them what works. I always, when I'm looking at programming a concert, um, I say to the band in rehearsal, if you know of a piece of music that you think we should be playing, you played it in another band or something, let me know and we'll order it or buy it for us and donate it to us or something,
Hmm.
because
Yep.
I want you involved in music and in the program. It's your band. I'm just standing up here and waving my arms, you know. So I think involving people is the way to do it. And I don't know if I answered your question specifically.
You did, yeah, yeah, because I get to it, where, and it's true. Sometimes pieces are out of reach for some folks, and I get that. But and it happens. You have to program for your band, right? But I'm a strong advocate, and I'll be honest, it's not my words. It's just my teachers talking into my ear all the time, where play the real thing. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right.
For example, like, and I'm just going to use as an example and not dissing it, but there's easier versions of Stars and Stripes Forever, and we're like, no, you got to play the real one.
Yes,
It's like, which I
we're
know is
going
more
home.
right, widely used today, and most people know it and all of that, but. I have on this quest of this is the challenge part of it, right? You want to continue to have them, you know, um, involved and engaged,
Right.
and that's where, just like you're saying, you're looking at the other side of it, of what you can teach the audience, and it when you were talking about that, I just want to share, with
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
standing up, especially in the nursing home, and crying, and tears coming down their face. It gave me chills, so I'm just going
Yeah.
to say
Those are
that
the
because
most important jobs we do,
yep.
to bring music to people who don't get it, don't have music, because it is transformative. Music can be transformative for the players as well as the audience and the conductors too. So there's no reason not to do it your whole life. And I hate it when college students get a degree in a performance degree or music education, or they just played for a long time and then they get out and they don't play anymore.
Yep.
That's just, or they don't sing in a choir. They don't, that's not good. You
Hmm.
should be, it's a lifelong experience. Don't shortchange yourself. It should be forever.
I kind of agree with that. It's a pet peeve of mine as educators. I've met so many educators that don't play anymore, or
Yeah,
don't sing, don't are
right,
not active in music other than for their students. And I
right.
kind of have that same feeling. So, well, in the last few seconds, I have one more question for you. And this is more about you, rather than, the kind of the programs you do. So, and this leads in perfectly. It was exactly what you said. So I'm on this quest of people continuing to make music, and by all means forgive me, because I have the utmost respect for you, but you're in retirement age, and I don't want to say this the wrong way.
Yeah,
You should be at the beach, right? And enjoying the sun, or be where you want to be on vacations, and I know you do that. I do know you do that, because I know your schedule, but you're still involved with music still today,
yeah,
and here you are, of you're talking about even junior high school, and where you are, and I just wanted to, for the last few minutes, if you could just shed some light on it, of your commitment to the profession, which I'm honored to say. I'm so excited that you're still there, and still doing it, so many people can experience that and talk to you, and be under your baton. But I was just interested in, if you talk a little bit about your motivation, as
sure.
far as yourself being still here, doing it,
Yeah,
making music.
yeah. Sure. I'd be glad to. Music is a life raft for me. I mean, it's just such an important aspect of my existence, really. And I don't see myself ever giving it up. If I can't play anymore, if that ever comes, it'll be a tragedy for me. But I'll always be able to listen to music and play records or CDs or whatever, or go to live concerts. Um, During the pandemic, it was tough because we didn't have ensembles to play with. Uh, we couldn't uh, we couldn't put concerts on with the Blauenberg band. I couldn't drive down to Washington D.C. and play with the Virginia Grand Military Band, Laura Schissel's band down there, which was a professional band. I had been playing in that since 1993 when they started, basically, all the way through till 2019 when it wasn't really safe to be on a stage
Hmm.
with everyone blowing, you know.
Right.
It's not that good. So what I did is I just said, okay, well, I'll just have to play music at my house on my own. And so I just practiced 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, whatever I wanted to at home. And you know what? You can get better if you do that. Casals was asked at the age of 97 why he was still practicing the cello. And he said, because I'm starting to get better. I'm improving. And that is exactly the case. If you play long tones for a half hour a day and scales and
Hmm.
and then go play music or whatever you want, that is really beneficial to you. And it's a wave that you ride on top of that just brings you closer and closer to something you'll never reach, which is perfection in your horn. I studied with teachers that had that same philosophy, and they imbued it into me that this is a lifelong pursuit and something that you will always be wanting to do. And it's something that they helped me a lot in identifying that status or that idea that
Hmm.
this is what we want to do, keep playing. And I like to tell students in my band or uh, uh, adults in my band,
Hmm.
just keep playing. It's just keep moving, keep playing, keep making music, and people come there and they still want to do it. Um, and I think if we can make the performance of music as an ensemble um, more gratifying, we can do that when we go to a nursing home or a retirement center and play for people who are so appreciative of what we do and so happy to have us there. And won't you come back and play again sometime? And yes, we will. That is passing the torch, so to speak,
Hmm.
keeping people energized and engaged in living. And music is no no secret here. Music is one of the best ways to to become engaged in your own life. Retirement has gotten busier for me because I'm playing more. So that's
Well, that's great to hear, and that it beautifully said. I will say it that way, just because this is the reason why I wanted you to come on this, just because I've seen you, at the East Coast Band Conference, for example, writing notes down, still taking notes on presentations, still learning from people,
yeah, yeah,
just like you said, you're continuing to work on score study and continue worrying about your audiences and your band members. And I just think that's so awesome and admirable,
yeah.
and it's just, that's kind of the quest of this. And I just hope people realize that it's, that's my biggest pet peeve. Like, I have friends who are great in Allstate and great in college, and they're not doing anything anymore. And I understand life's busy, children, other responsibilities, house, I get it, but it's just getting that connection of music making is kind of the quest I was. So,
You want to keep your brain active, and you can do research and read and learn new things, which is really great. You've got time now as you're when you're retired, but music is just a whole different hemisphere of your brain because you're
yep.
using your ear and you're using your air and your breath and your fingers and your coordination, and you are making art. All art should be the goal of all people. And when you're retired, you have time. You're going back to school, and you can be
Yep.
your own teacher now. And I encourage everyone, every single person that's retired, to do something creative every day.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Jerry. I really appreciate you taking the time to, speak to me and the world, as I
Yeah.
say it, hopefully folks who watch this, it is great to hear, and thank you for all your great opportunities. And as I say, to everybody, keep making music. I mean, and that's where I want to see you all. Meet me
Oh,
on the stage. I'll say that. So, but thank you so much again, Jerry, for all your help, and thank you for your years of service. I really want to say that
well,
too,
you're
just
welcome.
because.
And thanks for having me on, Josh, and all my best to the success of your blog. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. My pleasure. Take care.